Alright, so hello everyone, I'm Tim from Tim's PC and I build custom PCs to suit anyone's needs or budget. I also live stream my builds and repairs for transparency and educational purposes. So if you'd like an awesome new PC and you'd like to see it get put together live, send me a message today. Alright, so Friday night, start of the weekend, how good's that? Don't you love weekends when you work like Monday to Friday? For everyone else, weekend's just like another day of the week. But I digress. So tonight, we've got a little bit of stuff on tonight. We've got a PC to build, but it's not a gaming PC. So not many people will be interested in that. However, the Alienware PC with the i9 11900K and RTX 3090 that is allegedly performing worse than an RTX 3060 Ti system. That might be a little bit more interesting for people. So we're going to get started on this. So look, a little bit of a rundown on this PC, because I mean, I don't have all the answers, and like I say to customers, I don't like to speculate too much without like actually having a look at it in person, because when you start to speculate and you start to like guess, you start to make mistakes and whatnot. And like I explained, like I said to the customer, he said to me he had nothing else to do, right? So he's having a look on Reddit and he's reading about other problems people have had with similar systems and similar specs and all that, and he's like, oh, I think it might be my RAM. And I said to him, like, but all right, what reason do you have? Like, what did you do to make you think that it's your RAM specifically? Like, other than reading stuff on Reddit, like what did you actually do to the system? What did you run? What are you basing your suspicion on? Like, other than Reddit, like just push that to the side for a second. Based on what it's doing, what evidence do you have that it's the RAM? And I said to him, like, look, I've seen people like have a problem and start replacing parts, and they end up replacing 3-4 different parts of their PC before they work out what the problem was, or they replace pretty much everything and then find out that it was a problem with their SSD, and they've basically replaced the CPU, motherboard, RAM, and graphics card, when it was just a problem with the SSD that should have been picked up. But because if you're an amateur, you don't know what you don't know, so it can get expensive. So I said to him, like, look, mate, I'm happy to sell you a kit of RAM. I'm happy to drop it off and install it for you and all that. But what I don't want to do is take your money for RAM that you didn't need. I'd much rather have a look at it and sort of work out what your actual problem is. Like, is it the graphics card? Few things that he said to me lead me to believe that the graphics card is it seems to be functioning normally, but we'll have to wait and see until we actually have a look at it. He's had other problems with it, with the network card and stuff like that that's in it. So there could be a number of strange sort of problems going on with this PC. So what my actual recommendation is going to be to the customer is going to be based on what we find here tonight. So look, I don't know. I mean, I'd like to just say to this customer, oh yep, it's just a problem with the motherboard. Everything else is fine. We'll just chuck a new motherboard in there, and Bob's your uncle. It's gonna run completely fine. Or maybe it is the RAM. Who knows? I mean, I'd have to like I said, I don't like to start guessing until I've got a reason to suspect something. Now, I might suspect something to start with, but you know, as for sort of trying to guess without looking at it, that's yeah, just not worth your time. Okay, so let's have a look at it. So I think you pull this latch and this panel comes off. Oh, check that out.
Ooh. Yeah, no.
I should have
Maybe taking that off outside.
yeah, definitely. Alright, so Alienware PCs are, like packaged up. So I'm assuming.
Oh, fuck yeah. Cousin just bought a house.
What's that?
Oh, Jess. Her and her fiance bought a place.
Oh, cool. Oh. What am I missing? Gotta love these things. It's like, why don't you make this sort of stuff easy? Aha! There we go. I didn't even have to take off these 4 screws at the back. Look at that.
The customer said he's here and he said he did run benchmarks and ran benchmarked poorly.
Yep. The thing about RAM though is RAM is sort of tied intimately to your CPU and your motherboard. So sometimes a problem with the RAM can actually be your CPU or motherboard. So CPU and RAM is kind of joined at the hip, and the thing that holds them together is the motherboard. So just to give you a bit of an idea. Okay. Alright. So having a look around here. This is the very last generation that had the SLI interface on the card. This is the RTX 3090 we've got in here.
Jim?
Yeah.
The customer says my wish is the issue is with the motherboard.
Yeah, I mean that would be good. We could put in another board here. This is just a micro ATX board, standard size. So that's no dramas. I mean, if it is the motherboard, we'll also be replacing the Intel Wi-Fi that you've had a lot of problems with as well. The replacement might be Intel, but don't worry, it's a different generation entirely to this, so you shouldn't have the same problems. Okay, and our RAM, let's just eject. Okay, we got some Kingston Fury in here. 3200 megahertz CL16 memory. So that right there is the pretty much the sweet spot for price performance for DDR4 RAM. So basically the specs of the RAM is completely fine. No problems there whatsoever. Okay, so I just had a quick look in there. But now let's see what we see with it all plugged in. We'll do that before I start to take anything apart. Here we go. Alrighty. Mm-hmm. Let me just... Okay. So before we go much further, let's just see what we see. So what have we got installed here? No. Okay. So what we'll do is we'll install a few bits and pieces here, and we'll just sort of see what we see when we have a bit of a poke around. I mean, we booted up nice and fast and stuff, so I'm not too concerned about the SSD at this stage. I did see another version of Firmark on there, but I'll just install this version because it's the one I always use. Hardware monitor. And MSI Afterburner. So sorry about all this. You can remove any of this software that I install. It is useful software to just sit there in the background, so if you don't need the space, I recommend just leaving it on there. Okay, so my test bench here, my test bench doesn't have much CPU on it at all. It's got a Zen 2 Ryzen 3 chip on it. So yeah, not exactly a an absolute weapon there or anything. Oh, I might want to plug in some network. Sorry, don't mind that. That's my loose cable. Babe, can you check the cable on your end?
This is no signal.
There it goes. Sorry, I need to get a new HDMI cable. But see, I can't get anyone. I've got to get like a good one. And there's none. The one that I want isn't here in this state. So it's a real pain in the ass. Okay.
Fluffy now, no.
Okay. So CPU-Z, really handy app. I install it on all of my builds and it will just tell you some really crucial information about your system. So don't look it up through Windows and the system specs. It's basically useless information. This CPU-Z app, this will tell you everything you need to know. So we've got a 11900KF. It is an Alienware motherboard. I'm not familiar with the board model itself. It's a proprietary board. Alienware's Dell, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think it started as Dell. I think it's one of those cases where, you know, a big corporation acquires a brand and then kind of like doesn't necessarily manage it very well.
Yeah.
It's Dell, yeah. Okay, so got that. Yep. That looks fine. But it looks like... Is it just... It's running at non-XMP speeds? Yes. So it's just running at 2666 instead of the 3200 that the DIMMs are actually rated for, because we got the Kingston Fury 3200 megahertz CL16 memory in there. Yeah, as we can see here, our Kingston 3200 megahertz, and oh, is that not CL16 memory? It normally is at 3200. No, that's fine. And we've got our RTX 3090, our GA102 GPU. Okay, so...
Alienware was founded in 96.
1996, that's how far it goes back. Alright.
It was bought
So if I hit...
in 06 by Dell.
They've had it since 06. Okay, so they've had it for a while. Okay, so if I hit it with a stress in CPU-Z, CPU goes up 75C. That's fine. That's within expectations.
Custom says I may have mucked the XMP settings in BIOS.
Ah, okay, yeah. Because I mean, it should be fine for 3200, which is pretty much what you want. And 650 there. I mean, that's looking, the CPU wise, that's looking exactly in line with what I would expect. Go away, Razer. Sorry, it's just my Razer mouse automatically likes to install. Okay, so let's just have a look here. Okay. So that's us there. Is there another? No? Am I just being blind? So 8 cores, 16 threads. Oh, it's a little down, isn't it? But that could have just been stuff going on in the background because it's within 10%. So you gotta remember if we went and clicked this again. Yeah, but look, we're now. Where are we for multi there? 6173. There we go. And then that's within 5% there of the average there. So it's a little bit below, but it's certainly not a deal breaker. 629 there, single thread and multi-core there, that is performing as expected. Okay, so our graphics card, let's make sure the fans are doing exactly what we want under load. Alright, I'll set up the on-screen display like what we normally do. Oh, before I forget, let's install Heaven benchmark. The reason I'm using Heaven is because it's the one that I'm most familiar with in terms of different graphics cards and how they should perform. So this will give me some sort of an idea as to how it's actually going. Because remember, customer said that the performance of this is lower than a 3060 Ti, and there should be no reality where a GA102 GPU, like what's on a 3090, should be beaten by a GA104 GPU, which is like what's on a 3060 Ti. So okay. Oh, is that not installed properly? Okay. Alright. Hardware monitors open. Alright, let's have a quick look. Let's see what we see. No. It's wanting a reboot. Let's just reboot that. So our on-screen display works. We can really have a look and see what that 3090 is doing. Because the thing is, if it does actually perform as expected during running Heaven and maybe the other benchmarks, that might lead me to believe there's some sort of software related problem. But I did say, we talked about this with the customer, and he was like, definitely.
Gone into BIOS and looked at all that.
Oh no, not yet. We're not there yet. We're at the point where we're just having a look to see what we see.
You need to close that phone.
Oh yeah. We're gonna have to reinstall. We have to reinstall that. Where are we? Oh, are you serious? Okay, so this will really show us quite a lot. Yeah, just give it a second to download the DirectX updates. Okay, I mean, so this is a relatively new system. It should be functioning completely normally. If we do see an anomaly, we'll take the graphics card out, we'll plug it into the test bench, and then we'll see what we see there in comparison. We'll also have a look at the RAM XMP settings. Because yeah, there's for DDR4 there's really only one other kit that's like faster in terms of real world performance than 3200 megahertz CL16, and that is 3600 megahertz CL16, not 3600 megahertz CL18. The increase in latency offsets the increase in clock speed, but if you get 3600 megahertz CL16, the latency is the same as the 3200 megahertz, and the speed goes up. So you got that, but that's only, that should only be a very small amount of performance. What's being said is that that the system's basically performing at like 50% of what it should. That should not be happening. So okay. Alrighty. There we go. Okay, so we're looking at... Oh, what's minimized me? So we're looking at our frames per second and also our GPU and CPU specs at the same time. Yeah. That is running a little bit slow. It's not, we're not ramping up to 100% there on the graphics card. CPU's not bottlenecking it. Yeah, the RAM there, we haven't even used, we're not using a lot of RAM. This feels kind of like a 3070 Ti almost, because it's sitting there. See that value there. Now, if you see my gaming PC builds where we run the gaming benchmarks like this, you will notice that the GPU percentage, the usage there, should be up around 100%. You know, sometimes it drops to 80, but it should be, you know, up the top there. Our CPU, yeah, it's getting a bit warm. 30%. It's not really what you'd call bottlenecked as such. Your CPU usage would be, you know, 70, 80% plus to sort of start to make the case that the CPU's really holding it back in any considerable way. I think it's just the blower card strikes again, babe.
Yeah.
So what I'm sort of communicating to Christine about there is the fact that these graphics cards, like the one that's in this, it's what we call a blower card. Now, some people might go, blower cards because it blows. Well, kinda, but it's just that it's not being used for what it's optimized for. Okay, so this graphics card here is optimized for workstations. It has this single turbo fan and it pushes heat out the back of the graphics card. They make a lot of noise and they're not really optimized for gaming. But look at this, we're at 100% now. Oh, now it's dropped down again. Yeah, look at that. It's getting plenty of power, you know. 300, 400 watts. See, there it goes. It's okay for a second, then it's just dropping down. Yeah, it looks like it's just not optimized. Because I mean, it ran through fine. How do I get into an Alienware BIOS? Let's just try some of the usual culprits.
Tim? Tim?
Yeah.
The card says possible NVIDIA driver issue.
I really don't think so.
The customer says, I'd be curious to see what the card does on your bench system.
Yeah.
I just the GPU usage is strange. Never really seen that before. Heaven is usually perfect for utilizing GPU usage max.
Yep.
Surely not RAM bottleneck with XMP turned off shouldn't affect GPU usage
No,
at all.
not at all. It should be fine in terms of the usage. I did change some overclock settings. I wasn't 100% sure what that was referring to, so we'll turn it on and see if it makes any effect with the system and how it's using power. But yeah, like I said, this is a blower card, so
it's like
it's not really optimized. It's not really optimized for gaming. I mean, sometimes yeah, it's the cheapest possible way of getting yourself a GA 102 based card. But yeah, it's very strange. I have seen this kind of strange behavior on blower cards before when used for gaming. But it is still a little bit weird in terms of seeing it run like that on Heaven, because Heaven is a pretty, you know, who was the customer who was saying that online? You know, Heaven is really, really good at, you know, being something that can utilize 100% of the graphics card without a massive amount of, you know, fast RAM or CPU to go along with it. Okay, let's give this another go. Actually, before we start that, I just want to make sure that our XMP. Okay. 3000, not 3200. That's interesting. So that must be that XMP2 setting. We'll get it up to 3200. Alright, let's give this another go. So I like to watch that opening scene. Yeah, it's still sort of, yeah. See, we should be seeing like 400s plus in that opening scene. Yeah.
The customer wants to know, shouldn't a blower 3090 still perform better than 3060 Ti?
Well, I mean, you would think so, right? You would think so. But it does depend what game you're running and stuff like that. Yeah, in my opinion, shouldn't really sell blower cards, not in a $5,000 PC. The problem is they need to use that style of card to put it in this freaking case that they're using. They're not really. It's not really the same kind of case that you'd get from like a normal PC case. And it kind of sucks because then the fans have got to run at like full speed, so then you have this noisy ass fan box thing in the corner of the room. I feel like it's running just a little bit better. Just a little bit. It's still... Yeah. Alright, have we seen enough? I think we've seen enough. Let's move on. Let's chuck it on. Will we... Why don't we get my PC for this? Just because it's a fairly weak CPU on the test bench. Okay. So I'm going to get my rig. My rig's probably got a bit of cat hair and stuff in it as well.
GPU to me from watching your PC looks fine. If GPU had major issues, you would expect stutters, restarts, artifacts,
Yep.
like something else is the cause.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm leaning towards it's just the blower card strikes again. It's not optimized properly for what it's being used for. But hey.
Customer says if my card performs the same in another rig, then fine. Crap card. We can move on to the acceptance phase of this fiasco.
Yeah, well, I mean, if it is just a case of the card is sort of poorly optimized and stuff, then I would recommend moving on from what you have. It's not even a blower.
No.
No. Damn.
That sound, what he sounded like.
Damn, it sounded like a blower, didn't it? So that's your card.
That's a really small, like 3090.
It's. I mean, I guess it's sort of small, but I mean, it's adequate. Okay. All right. So my rig here, we've got a 13600 KF. So yeah, it's not another i9 or anything like that. But 13600KF is actually an excellent CPU. It's very strong.
When the customer says that's what my wife says, it's adequate.
No, it's gonna either perform the same, or it'll be, 100% and absolutely caning it. Alrighty. So here comes me perso rig. Showing me perso to the world. What's going on? Normally I just show other people's persos to the world. Where's my mouse?
There it is.
There we go.
Mad Warrior says what's up.
Hey Mad Warrior, how you going? Good to have you with us.
Customer says this is getting exciting.
Okay. So we got our RTX 3090 there. Should I just go and install a recent NVIDIA driver? I reckon I will. That bloody GeForce Experience app has logged me out.
Customer says just as lazy as me, I see same background.
Oh yeah. I mean, come on. Who sits there staring at their desktop background? Like, seriously. The people who have like 5 monitors and they just sit there with empty screens and they're like, ah. I don't know, because I'm always doing stuff. I don't really look at my background. It's like the last thing I think about doing anything with. Okay, so I'll just install a recent lot of NVIDIA drivers just to make sure nothing weird is going on with our graphics card. And yes, what do you all think of these interesting Thermaltake fans?
People can see what we've been watching. Cleveland show and Star Trek.
Oh no.
You better hurry up, cutting into track time.
Cutting into track time. Yeah, we're currently rewatching Star Trek.
Voyager.
Star Trek Voyager. We've got everything on DVD, but we have it all saved on the computer, just so it's a lot easier than fucking around with DVDs. You know how much of a pain in the ass that is in this day and age. And yeah, the quality's just not as good, right? Like these old shows.
No. But we thought it was so good.
At the time, it was good.
Didn't know any better.
Okay, let's open up a few things here. So, NVIDIA driver. Okay. Very good. Okay, so want to make some bets? Want to put some money down?
No. No money.
All right.
society
Oh.
we are becoming when using DVDs has become hard. I tossed all my DVDs. Too hard.
Yeah, I mean, it's from a different, it's a different
You run
era.
the risk of like damaging them, and then once they're damaged, you can't like watch it again.
About That 70s Show, we got That 70s Show on DVD, but then we've lost a couple of discs, and it's just a freaking pain in the ass. Okay.
Because I think GPU was at 65C during Heaven, but with aggressive fan curve, I think 65 was at like 80% fan speed.
Yeah, I mean, I put it, I adjusted it so it was at 100% at like 73-ish degrees. I mean, I didn't look, I just did it quickly. I wasn't gonna sit there and get it all perfect. Near enough is good enough. Just need it to be freaking actually going 100% by the time it's actually freaking up there in temperature. Alright, so just restarting it because I didn't see the graphics card stats. Oh. Okay. And so just to make things clear, we've even got DDR4 memory in this rig, and XMP's not turned off. Sorry, not turned on, I should say. So it's running at 2666, just like yours was when we first ran it. The only difference is we have the 13600KF, which yeah, I'll show you. Compared to the 11900KF, it sort of leaves it in the dust a little bit there. At 50% more performance there multi-core, and then 30% more performance there on single core. But the CPU should not be the bottleneck here for a 3090, either the 11900K or the 13600KF. Okay, over to Heaven now. Nope, still having problems with that overlay. Oh, it just doesn't have auto start. Blech. Okay, that's all showing up now as it should. Sorry, I'm starting that again because I wasn't paying attention. But when I looked up, that actually looked pretty good. Okay. Start again. I can watch it from the start. See, there we go. That's what I expect. I expect, you know, in the 400s there in that opening scene, and we can see there 100% there on the graphics card. Possibly. That was just a dip though. Now it's straight back up at in the high 90s. This is what you would expect. This is how this benchmark's meant to run. Sure, there's some little dips in it like that, but in general, it's going to sit up there above 90%. And that tells me that the graphics card's being fully utilized. Yep, it's definitely fine. It's not a blower card. That theory was gone. It just has really loud fans. They are loud fans. I'm not just tripping, am I? They're loud fans. It sounds like a blower. Yeah, yep. Yeah, but I mean, as we can all see here, if you have any experience with different cards and stuff, and you were watching this, you can see now that the frame rate and everything else, the wattage that it's drawing through, everything is performing as you would expect a 3090 to perform. I don't know. I don't know about that, because the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to rip the memory out of that and put it in my rig and see what we see. But I don't have any so far. I don't have any reason to think that it's RAM related. I do have reason to suspect it could be a motherboard related problem, because we've got we got one of these proprietary boards. It looks like it's made by Gigabyte, but it doesn't have any Gigabyte branding on it, if that makes sense. Yeah, and so as we can see here, this is hitting usage that we just weren't seeing previously. Alright, so very well could be. I mean, see there, we hit a peak there in the mid 600 frames per second there at the end. Wasn't anything like that previously. Okay, so that all looks pretty decent. Okay. So I remove my memory. And we'll plug in the Kingston Fury. So yeah, I'm familiar with this brand of memory. There's nothing wrong with it on the surface. It's not like some cheap proprietary RAM that's in there or anything like that. So when you plug new RAM into your system, it basically has to post for the first time again. We'll go into BIOS directly, and there we go. Yeah, profile 2 is what we want there for 3200 megahertz CL16. Okay, so if it's a RAM problem, we should be seeing the same kinds of performance impacts when we run the same software again on the same system. So I know the customer's really, really hoping that it's the board. Oh.
That's the case of the alien control thing. Since that's why I hate bloatware rather. A fresh install Windows with only chipset drivers and GPU drivers and a few others. That's all you need.
Yeah.
Pretty much the rules. That pretty much rules out any other issues.
Any of the software stuff.
With the OS.
100%. But the thing is though, this PC cost over $5,000, and it should work. It should, like, you know, at least work. Okay, alright, so let's run this again. And so what I'm expecting is for it to be running pretty much in line with exactly what we saw earlier. If we notice a significant change in behavior, and that's not what we're noticing at all. We're seeing the same kind of thing. It's up there in the mid 400s in the opening scene compared to the mid 300s or so on the other system. And so yeah, as you can see, we're not seeing any issues with the RAM. The RAM's behaving and performing exactly as we would expect. I think what we'll do, we'll chuck it back. We'll chuck it back in the original system. And we'll have a quick look at the software. Maybe remove a bit of the bloatware and stuff off there. See if that makes any difference. But yeah, it might just be getting an entirely new motherboard for it. The problem is that it's an 11900K and it's going to be hard to find a good motherboard to replace it with. So I don't know. Yeah, oh, that's absolute plenty of power. Yeah, but it's only really slightly different, and you got to remember, if you run the thing 10 times, it's going to run slightly different each time, just based on what the system's doing in the background and all that. The fundamental thing that we're seeing here is that we're seeing the usage there above 80% for most of the time, and a lot of the time it's up there above 95%. So we're fully utilizing this card. So I'm sure I'll be able to track down another board for you. But I guess you just have to decide whether you just sell what you've got, and yeah, just get a new rig entirely. But the cheaper option will be probably just to swap that motherboard out. Okay, so look, it for all intents and purposes ran exactly the same with both kits of RAM there. Okay. All right, let's go back. Let's go back to the original rig, the original RAM, the original graphics card. Let's have a bit of a play around.
Still seems it's not RAM related. Seems right. I would still think this is fine. Above 90 is pretty much confirming it's not RAM related.
Yeah.
Before your GPU was hovering around 50-60.
Yeah. 100%.
It's a motherboard. I reckon it's the motherboard.
Yeah, well, like I said, it's definitely a point of weakness is the fact that it is a proprietary board. You know, they're not as common, so you know they are prone to strange issues. Put it that way. Let me just chuck a screw in there. Oh, no screw holes. Okay. Okay. Let us return to the original. So I don't have any reason to really think that there's a CPU related issue there. We're not posting. Just give it a sec. There it goes. So basically it's just having a SPAC. Okay, so we'll activate that with the XMP on, and yeah, well, with that we've sort of taken a few other random variables out of the equation at this stage. So the graphics card runs as expected on other hardware. Now, let's do a bit of a color.
Now.
Okay, we're gonna uninstall all Alienware related proprietary software. This is what he's having problems with Intel Killer Wireless. It is somewhat problematic.
Customer says if you benchmark whole system CPU, RAM, and GPU benched low, which would imply the board issue with Alienware Command Center. Go into Alienware. Let's see what's going on there.
I'm removing the Alienware software.
Oh, okay.
Couple of people have said Alienware Command Center, and they're probably right.
Says thing is if you got the PC and it was fine at first, what changed to cause the issue? If it was Alienware Command Center, the issue would have been there from the start. Oh, customer says it was there from the start.
Yeah. He said this has been a constant thing, and he's been messing around with it for ages, and he was pissed. He's just had enough, and I don't blame him. You know, you go and buy a PC, like, you know, certainly something over $5,000. You expect that at least the graphics card runs at full speed. Let's uninstall that as well. You said you're having some problems with that.
No, you can't get on my desk. There's no room. Stop being fluffy.
Okay.
Customer says Dell replace the 3090.
Oh, they've replaced it. Oh, wow.
Well, what they say is replaced. I don't know what they did to it.
They tested it and found that it was okay, probably.
It was 5,500 2.5 years ago, and says never again.
Yeah. It's the problem when you buy any high-end PC. You gotta remember that tech changes all the time, right?
I mean, they would be selling these PCs left, right, and centre. People were getting crap performance. They would be getting heaps of warranty returns. Eventually, figuring out it's their software. Hopefully, for you, it's just the software, not something else.
Yeah, look, hopefully it is just the software, because if it is...
Stop trying to jump up there, you can't, dude.
You know, it'll just make things a lot easier.
No, you're not going up there.
Alright, so let's see what we see. You ready?
Customer says, I'm convinced it's the motherboard now.
Look at that. CPU usage looks like it's a little higher though. But the frames per second's not where it should be. It's running like 20%, 25% slower than what it should be.
It's a motherboard.
I'm thinking so. Yeah, I mean, I don't have a spare LGA 1200 motherboard. Yeah, look at this, it's dropped right down. Alright, so what's the consensus here? We're all seeing the same thing. I'm not just, you know, having a brain fart or something like that. This is definitely performing, you know, a sizable percentage slower, not just 5-10% slower. This is going 20% ish slower than before. It's like the CPU usage just never quite gets up and stays up. Look, oh, as soon as I say that, it gets up to 90 or 100. Look at that. But
Oh, fuck hell. I found a motherboard, LJ 1200, but the only place is Tasmania.
yeah, they're getting kind of old at this stage. Honestly, man, you know what I recommend? I recommend that we just scrap your motherboard and we give you the 11900 KF CPU and you can sell that. And then we go and put in a new motherboard and CPU, something that's up to date and all that. And you won't have to worry about that.
So it's just put 3,000 volts through it, please.
Yeah, I know, right? I know. Yeah, look, let's scrap the motherboard, and we'll get a new motherboard with new Wi-Fi, Bluetooth built into it and stuff, and we'll just swap everything over to the new platform. So we'll go, I know, something fairly similar to what I've got in there, I guess. That would probably make the most sense. And then yeah, the 11900 KF, you should be able to get yourself at least $300, I reckon, on the used market right now.
Well, I looked at there's one board that you can buy from Tasmania and it's 115.
Nah, fuck that.
Well,
Fuck
no, I'm
that.
saying like
Yeah.
price
Yeah.
for resale, so it's $100 for the motherboard and how much for the CPU.
Yeah. I mean, you could sell it on the motherboard, on the Alienware motherboard, but I don't know who would want to buy the Alienware motherboard with the CPU. The CPU itself, that's a relatively hot commodity. You shouldn't have any problems selling it. And then yeah, like if we were to, let me just plug in a network cable
Swiss
here.
says he's tried to get rid of it. He says, "Can I interest you in this awesome rig?"
All right, let's have a quick look here and see what we need to do. Yeah, we'll go.
Dugas says, "What's the chances the PSU connectors to the GPU are crapping out?" Should just check a spare PSU.
We'll do that. Yeah, we'll do that. But all right, so we could go something like a 12600 KF. That's only $259. So this would be this is like the minimum that I'd recommend replacing it with. Oh, it's DDR5. I need DDR4 boards.
There was one there. Expensive.
Yeah,
That's
that
the
looks
199.
good there. MSI B760 M-A Wi-Fi DDR4. Alright, so you're looking at about, what, $458 for parts, and looking at 150 for the labour to install all that, swap it all over.
Check the PSU first.
We will check the PSU. I mean, apparently it's a 1,000 watt PSU, so I mean, it should be good. I mean, doesn't look super premium inside, but it's sort of sometimes hard to tell. But yes, let's chuck another PSU on it. So we got a Thermaltake Tough Powered GF1 650 watt. See, the thing is, they're modular cables as well. So I mean, if it's just the cables, you know, we should be able to get replacements.
Maybe the 12-volt grounds are shocking and has some internal crap to draw back the power usage to stabilise the system.
Yep,
I've never heard of that before, since it's Alienware.
That's a good theory. That is a good theory. I like that. But this is why we check. We never assume. Assume nothing. Assume at your own peril. I've been fucking around with PCs long enough to know that you don't assume anything. The minute you start assuming is the minute you start wrong about things. Yep. Okay, so different PSU there now. Let's give it a go. What happened there?
Why is that?
It didn't like something there, did it?
No.
Alright, there we go. So yeah, it's still doing the same thing, right? Yeah. All right. Look, I've seen it. I've seen enough. Five for the PC.
5.5.
Yep.
For everything else. For everything rather was good value.
Yep. And it was at the time, man. I was, yeah. I remember during the crisis, I was calling up, like, you know, like brick and mortar PC stores, like, you know, ones that have like been there since like the early 2000s and stuff like that. These old school places that pretty much have all, you know, all boomer customers and stuff like that. No offense to anyone watching it. I just mean that they cater to an older demographic. But they get allocated cards from the distributors, and I'd call them up and be like, "Hey, got a 3080, got a 3090. I'll take that off your hands right now." I was driving up to the Sunshine Coast, down to the Gold Coast, to stores to pick up cards and stuff like that. That's how crazy it was during COVID, trying to get graphics cards, etc.
Brendan was known as the GPU got a hotspot. I'm not sure if that test shows that data.
Hotspot. Yeah, I mean it. I'm sure. There would be in the hardware monitor app. It would have hotspot there. But the thing is, we put it in the other PC, and the 3090 was 3090ing. It was behaving exactly as expected. So for this, we're just gonna put in a new motherboard and CPU. It's gonna be the easiest one.
Yeah.
He's also had problems with his Wi-Fi and stuff as well. This will also replace that.
And customer says we'll talk offline, mate, on how to rebuild.
Yeah. No worries. All right. Well, I'm gonna unplug my power supply, and then we will we'll just pack it up. Okay. So what a pain in the ass. So yeah, it looks like it will be that proprietary motherboard that was causing all of the dramas. Because I mean, with a new motherboard and CPU and the same RAM and the same graphics card, it behaved completely differently. And so we've got to make some assumptions based on what we've actually observed. Okay. Don't mind me while I chuck my rig back together.
Like if you want to change the motherboard and stuff like that, we could probably do like a trade-in or something.
Nah, I can't take it. I can't take it at this.
No?
Nah, he can get more for it than what I could offer in a trade. I'm a business, so I can't ever offer like good prices on trade-ins, basically. Because I got to cover my ass, the time, and potentially.
So I wanted a new board anyway, so win-win.
Yeah.
Dude, how's this new board with built-in Wi-Fi? The way to go nowadays.
Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely. Oh shit. Does it need a screw or something to hold it in? Broke it.
No.
He broke it.
I broke it. Oh, hang on.
Did you forget something?
Yeah.
You forgot something.
I don't know where it is. I'm just going to Nah, there we go. Okay. So what do we got here? We have a Silverstone Farah 511 as our case. Quite a nice looking case. But yeah, this build here, this is just going to be like a home computer basically. But it's going to be a pretty solid spec home computer. Huh? Yeah.
Customer says that table looks unstable, mate. Yeah, it's wobbly.
Yeah, it is a bit wobbly.
It's a
we got it for free.
Yeah.
It's got big tempered glass panel on it, but the frame's not very steady. That's why we got it for free.
We're going to invest in a new table eventually. This will just do for now.
It's very expensive.
It says I've been telling him since I started watching, gives me anxiety.
Do you know how awesome it's going to be if it breaks while I'm doing stuff? I'll go like super viral. Guy building PC has glass table shutter. Everyone's going to click on that. Like, let's be real, right?
Don't say that though. It's going to make it.
Okay. So let's go through the specs here of this PC. So we've got the i5 13400. Sorry, no, the 14500. I almost said that wrong. So 14500, better than the 14400, better than the 13400. But this bad boy here, this is a 10-core, 16-thread CPU. So massive amount of cores there on the i5. We've got a 1TB NVMe SSD. Got a 32GB kit of RAM. We've got a 4TB hard drive to chuck in there as well. And we've got the Asus B660M-A Wi-Fi DDR4. And we have a Silverstone ET500 power supply there. So really simple build here tonight. We can knock this one over quite quickly. That feels better. So there, that's that board there. So it's a pretty decent spec board. It's got everything that you would expect, including USB-C front panel connector, two NVMe slots, dual channel memory, Wi-Fi 6 and Bluetooth 5.1 built in there at the back. So, you know, pretty reasonable spec motherboard there. It's great, you know, from my perspective, because I've been doing this for a while and I've watched the evolution of motherboards over the last 20 years. I'm really happy with, you know, the sort of quality that you get on cheaper boards these days compared to what it was like, you know, 20 years ago. Like, there was a time when you really had to spend like a lot of money on the motherboard to get the reasonable features that you would expect. But now you can get really good stuff on pretty much some of the cheapest models that are out there. Not the cheapest models, but, you know, getting down there. Alrighty, and so yeah, like I said, the 14500 is one of the more solid i5s.
PC. He doesn't like the wooden with the lazy Susan. It looks unstable.
Oh no, it's not the. That's not the unstable thing. It's the table that's unstable.
That's just a lazy Susan.
This is just a lazy Susan. This is just easy to sort of turn it around and sort of show you and stuff what we're doing. So that's not the unstable bit. It's the table, but it is actually a metal frame. It's not just gonna like collapse or anything like that. So if it does give you anxiety, you don't have any real reason to be anxious. If it was at immediate risk of collapsing or something like that, I wouldn't be using it, right?
We'll get you a better desk.
Yeah, but I need 10,000 other things for this property to fix it up. This is pretty low on my level of priorities right now. Okay. Yeah, our air conditioner just decided to die. It is pretty old, like it's as old as the house and stuff like that. But I've never had an air conditioner fail quite like this. It basically fucking started freezing. Like, when I say it started freezing, I mean, like, it actually froze up. There was ice on it. It was blowing ice in my face. And this is on heat. So...
yeah, supposedly on 31C.
Yeah, on maximum, but yeah, it was literally forming ice. And the actual temperature it said -7 on the air conditioner. So basically I had a guy come out here and give me a bit of a rundown as to what has happened or what has likely happened. And so basically he said a couple of things that explained a lot. I noticed that there was a sort of a gross kind of smell coming out of it as well. And what he said was he said the compressor in it's died, and he's like, it's sucked up fluid and gas from down inside the system, and then it's deposited it all up inside it, and that's the smell that you're getting. And he's like, once the compressors, like, once all the pipes and stuff start getting clogged up, then it's just the gas won't circulate through it, and you'll end up with it freezing or getting really hot or whatever. So we're pretty much just gonna bite the bullet and get a new system, because it's like 30 years old. I don't think spending much money on a 30-year-old air conditioner makes a great deal of sense. Okay, so we are going to put in an extra RGB fan. Could have sworn I had another fan around here somewhere. That's okay, we'll move on for tonight. just have to remember to install something before I ship it off. Okay, so we got to install this hard drive, so I need to remove some screws here from the bottom. So someone asked me recently, they're like, so when the hard drive's going to be completely obsolete? And what I said probably surprised a few people, and I said is that hard drives aren't obsolete, and they're not even anywhere near being obsolete actually. People find that a little bit strange in the era of SSDs and stuff, but it is actually true. In terms of data centers and stuff, they have no intention of going away from hard drives anytime soon, because the price per terabyte is cheaper for hard drives, and yeah, they're not too concerned about the failure rate, because they don't keep drives long enough for the failure rate to become a problem. And compared to SSDs, when under extreme load, they die quicker than hard drives. So if you're like constantly reading and writing to a drive for say you buy it brand new, and then you're gonna like have it pretty much maxing out for the next 3 years, the hard drive will probably last better than the SSD. Certainly in terms of reliability and all that, and when you've got the whole economies of scale going for you, failure rate is very, very important. You don't care so much that, oh, the speed of the drive is a little bit less. That's just not the thing that you're concerned about as a data center. So based on that, you can see that Seagate, the manufacturer of this drive here, they are investing big bucks in the next generation of high capacity hard drives, because yeah, they're not going anywhere. Maybe for consumer PCs, they might be starting to sort of become obsolete, but in my opinion, they're gonna stay here for quite a while, at least the next 10 to 20 years, I would think. At least the next 10 years, put it that way. I don't know what new innovations are gonna come through on the NAND flash end of things. That's the SSD end of things. But I do know that big company like Seagate, a big storage company, they put their money where their mouth is with things, and they're investing big into the next generation of drives. So we're actually nearly there, believe it or not. Okay, so I just got some of the offsets here to swap over. They had a small size ATX configuration, so just the 6 bolts, and we have a full size micro ATX board that actually has 8 bolts. Okay. Sorry, you awake now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now the board's in place, we can go ahead and get everything else plugged in. So we've got a micro in a full-size ATX case here, so we'll route some of these cables discreetly behind the back of the board. So these little front panel connectors, some people think these are the hardest part of building a PC. However, that is not me. Sorry, I've got to deal with all of these cables here. So I do have a controller at the back here, so that makes life a little bit easier. Alrighty. And that is done. So I won't put the front panel on because I've still got to chuck another fan on the back there. But as for everything else,
What the fuck?
that's strange. The fans are addressable, so something to look at when I install that final fan. Okay, so this is all pretty straightforward from this stage. I might have to rewire the controller, because when I hold down on the button there, it should toggle it between button control and software control. Okay. Alright, so look, we won't be running any gaming benchmarks or anything on it because it's not a gaming PC. We don't have a graphics card. So this is just a pretty straightforward installation. What do we need from here? Not really that much. Realistically, I just plug in a LAN cable at this stage. There's nothing else I really need to get installed on here prior. No. Okay.
Stop being fluffy. Alright, so I'll put together this Wi-Fi antenna while I'm here.
Alright, while that's going on, we can set up our hard drive. So we got that 4 terabyte hard drive there. Storage.
Jesus Christ. I just pulled my fucking controller down off my fucking computer and it knocked everything. My bad.
Okay, so that's our graphics driver. Okay. Sweet. There's a couple of other things I'll get while I'm here. Office 365, everyone wants that. Oh yep, we've got Corsair memory, so I'll chuck IQ on there. Sweet. Okay, well, I think that's where we'll leave it for tonight because it's pretty boring. We're just gonna get all this other software installed and then it will be pretty much all ready to go. So, alright, well, look, thanks everyone for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel and I'll catch you all in the next video.